The battle continues. Paul Tracy is in front, running at 108 miles an hour. The fight in the field is at second place.
Well, the most incredible thing was that when I arrived in Europe, and first time I met Mario, we're all very competitive drivers, very competitive personality. But with all the respect I have for Diane, Mario was so successful on the female field. All the fans come around Mario and say, Christ, you know what he has? He must be so charming, huh?
Back at Laguna Seca, Al Unser Jr. trying to work his way up through the field. He's now moved to 20th position. He has a very long way to go to make it to the front. We'll keep an eye on him. Nothing has changed in the order for you. The battle on the track remains that between Jacques Villeneuve and Nigel Mansell in a battle for third place. The leader of the race, jumping into the lead right on the start, is the record pole sitter, Paul Tracy.
And look how much quicker Al Jr. is than some of the back markers. Pulls inside Zampe, bringing the MyJack car, cloud of smoke from somebody else. But if he was to win 9, he will be a hero. And Gordon is right behind him again.
Yeah, Robbie Gordon trying to file right behind him up through the field. It's probably a pretty exhilarating moment when you can just carve through cars like that, but you have to know in your own mind that they are, after all, much slower than you in terms of qualification and overall race speed.
Here's a great look here from over Gordon's shoulder. He goes outside Junior again, tries to slip through the outside, doesn't make it. Now this is not a battle for position because Al Jr. was stopped a lot longer than Gordon. But I'm sure Al Jr. probably lays most of the blame on that incident. With Robbie Gordon, look at Gordon, no racetrack out there, and he still goes somewhere to make the pass.
They split coming around Marco Greco, and they stay together on the race course.
That was the old racetrack that nobody ever uses except people like Robbie Gordon. He's on the dirt, gets the car sideways under acceleration. This man will do anything to make up positions and ground on the racetrack. Great to watch.
Just up ahead of Al Unser Jr. should be Mario Andretti. By the way, just behind this battle, now moving into 20th, as little Al moved up into 19th, is Emerson Fittipaldi. So the two Penske cars and Robbie Gordon coming up through the field. There is Mario as they climb the hill to the top of the corkscrew. Let's go to Jan Bika's pit side.
As we're seeing these drivers use many different lines like Robbie Gordon and Al Unser Jr., Paul, they have to do it very quickly because most of these teams feel that after 10 laps of hot running, the tires will start to throw a lot of rubber, and the rubber will then collect on the track, making this a single lane racetrack. So for right now, the guys that have to move through the field will have to do so very, very quickly.
Continuing to watch as Al Unser Jr. comes through the field. Robbie Gordon, by the way, did lose a full lap on his stop and is down a lap behind the rest of the field as he continues his pursuit of Al Unser Jr., though it is not for position. Little Al now in 18th. Mario Andretti sits ahead of him in the 17th place. Eddie Cheever has had a great run. He started 17th and very quickly with the accident was able to move up into 6th position, also with some skillful driving. Eddie Cheever, by the way, has signed on to drive for A.J. Foyt next year.
While Gordon frantically had that suspension change, in fact, he was caught by the pace car, and that's how he did go down one lap. But this is for position here with Andretti and Unser. Mario Andretti is one of the hardest men to pass on the racetrack. Here we go, down the inside. Will he make it? No.
Al Unser Jr. looking for room with Mario Andretti. They come flying down that hill now. A tremendous change of elevation, sweeping out from under the bridge. They continue onward downhill. Now a right-hander just ahead, and another chance for little Al to make a pass comes up on the next corner.
Frank Freon's just ahead of Mario. That's Willie T. Ribbs just ahead of him. Slowest corner on the racetrack, second gear.
Junior decides that's not the place to try it. Now once again they're climbing an elevation as they flash past the pits. Over a crest there, and then downhill once again. Into the second turn. A hairpin brings them all the way around.
Mario uses that inside line. No room to pass here. Al Jr. was in trouble already here. Needs to take it easy. Frank Freon now pressured by champions all over the place in his mirrors.
Little Al being very careful here. Mario being careful of Freon as well. Mario moves to the inside. Freon clears the way and gives them room. Now little Al has another chance. Doesn't take it.
That's a 110-mile-an-hour corner. Very difficult to get down the inside. Almost impossible to do it here. It's a third gear corner. Last up the hill, Al Jr. has a good run. Junior seems to get the power on. Quicker than Mario, here we go.
Little Al looking for a move as he comes to the top of the corkscrew. He ducks inside Mario. The pass is clean. So Al Unser Jr. moves around Mario Andretti and comes screaming down that hill, but Mario stays in contact.
Oh, the pass was clean, but Mario made him work for every inch of that. Mario began to go to the apex until he finally was forced to concede.
Here is a situation with Robbie Gordon as they came through the top, and there you see it. He just lost it, spun. Fittipaldi avoided him, and Gordon just lit the tires and came screaming down the hill, staying right in contact. Didn't look like he effectively lost much ground at all.
And that must be 25 laps worth of tire wear right there. Watch this. Look. Already in a low gear. Spins it all the way down. Minimum 25 laps worth of wear in that 1-360 maneuver.
And all you got to wonder is if the valves are still straight in that engine. So at the front of the field, it's the 3 car of Paul Tracy. He's led right from the green flag. In second is still Jacques Villeneuve, then Nigel Mansell, Stefan Johansson, and Teo Fabi. Lap 14 is now complete. Watching Stefan Johansson and Teo Fabi as we are at the Toyota Grand Prix of Monterey featuring the Bank of America 300 from Laguna Seca Raceway. 16 laps are now complete. As we watch Johansson, who sits in fourth, and Teo Fabi battle at the front of the field, it remains Tracy, Villeneuve, Mansell, none of those in close contact, so we'll keep an eye on them for you. Now, let's look back to the rest of the car. Here is Eddie Cheever as he comes down the hill with Raul Boisel and Adrian Fernandez. And
Boisel for Dick Simon. What a productive association that has been for both. Dick Simon's team, one of the front runners, hasn't managed to win yet, but Boisel looking for Cheever's position. Cheever again knows how to defend it. Very often you hear the tires squeal as they go down to second gear up here. But look at the drop down. 6 floors between the corkscrew. Goodyear's in trouble.
Scott Goodyear parks it into the tire barrier. He's moving in the cockpit. Appears to be okay. The corner workers are already here. Volunteers from the San Francisco region, SCCA, and others. Scott was running in 11th place prior to this, and we've gone to a full course yellow. So the second full course yellow of the day, while they extricate Scott Goodyear from the barrier. The last of that group of 4, 9th place Mauricio Gugelmin, started 19th and moved up to 9th. He just got simply pushed off the track, Scott Goodyear did, and into the barrier. That car might be all right, mightn't it? It didn't seem to be that much of a hit.
Oh, it made a fair bit of noise as it contacted. I'm sure it's folded back that right front suspension. But Al Jr., who was out of sync on the pit stops, wasn't due in until lap 32, takes the opportunity to make up some very good, useful track time under this yellow.
So Al Unser Jr. will also be out of sync in the stops. He pitted on lap 17.
He's outside Scott Sharp, almost impossible to make that move. And when you go off to the outside, no grip. Scott Goodyear at the top of the hill at turn 6 leaves Kenny Bernstein's car on the wall and walks away from it from the very last time. He will not drive for this team. In fact, this team will not even be in existence next year, and Mansell is in.
Nigel Mansell takes advantage of the full course yellow from 3rd place to make a stop on his 17th lap as the leader completes lap 18. They were going to call Jacques Villeneuve, and that's water, by the way, going down the side of the side pod there. They spray the car with water as they pull the fuel hose out just to make sure that there's no ignition. Stefan Johansson hits the pits as well from 5th place.
Dilutes the methanol. That's why you see the water spray. Johansson's stuck. He's going to drive over him. He says, no, stop, go back. Oh, look what he does. Now, that is unfair. That is uncalled for. I'm not sure that should be.
I'm very surprised at that.
Yes, yeah. There will be words there.
He's trying to come out of the pits.
We have
the car was all the way over to lock. The pit boxes, as you can see, are not all that long here to accommodate 29 cars. And then when he took the tire off, was that instinct to set the tire there, or was that done deliberately?
I don't know, but you are in the heat of the battle here. If you need to give somebody room, you have to do it. Johansson couldn't really do anything because if the mechanic had moved, he was able to drive out.
Here we are again. Let's see how this looks here.
It's tight.
He tries to shove the car back. Now Johansson can't turn any tighter.
Okay, that was deliberate.
Yep.
That should not have been done right there.
You know, I've never seen that kind of situation, and I'm fairly sure the rules don't account for the conduct of a pit crew member that deals with that. What can you do? I'm sure the officials, in fact, I know the officials are dealing with it right now. What can you do about that?
They are having the conversation. Billy Camphausen is down there. There will be a discussion, but I have never seen that happen before, where somebody seemingly deliberately blocks an exiting car.
Billy Camphausen, the senior official in the pits. Now he's talking. That's Tony Bettenhausen that was gesturing over the wall trying to explain the situation. So Johansson, 9th place. That cost him dearly as he came in under the yellow on the 18th lap in our second yellow of the day. We already know that Scott Goodyear is unhurt in that accident.
Fortunately, having this friendship with Mario, it goes beyond the racetrack. And, you know, he's got this place up in the Poconos that we're lucky enough to be able to go to on occasion. And his equipment up there has to be kept spotlessly clean. And if you want to keep your license to drive either the wet equipment or the winter equipment, the snowmobiles, you have to pass an inspection at the end of each year. And I've been on probation on occasion for getting that snowmobile a little wet. But he's waived it. In the end, he's waived it. And consequently, I know that I still have a friend in Pennsylvania.
Kenny Szymanski, the chief tire man for Mario Andretti. He was, by the way, in the Lotus team in the 1978 World Championship effort for Mario. And a number of members of that team have come over for this last day. Clive Hicks is here, who was a senior tire man at the time with Lotus. Glenn Waters, one of the mechanics. Piggy Malone is here, came by to say hi yesterday. Kenny, of course, is still tire man for Mario's team. And Trevor Watson is the gearbox and race mechanic guy at the time, is still with Mario as well. Also, Phil LePan of Players IndyCar team came over. So we've got all kinds of people coming here to say goodbye. It shows you the high regard they hold for Mario. Derek, let's take a look at what next year might mean for a lot of different drivers.
And cast your eye down here. These are the definites. We know this will happen all the way down through Cheever at Foyt. Villeneuve stays with Barry Green. Vassar Leindyke with Regency. Then move down to Pac West. We only have Scott Sharp in this Pac West. We know it's a two-car team, but our next page will show you some more. Mansell across the pond. Mario, we know he retires. Move down to Smith, retires. Then move down to Sullivan. We mentioned that earlier on. We do believe it's a formality that will be announced very shortly. And Ribeiro, a new IndyCar team, is being formed by Steve Horn, formerly of True Sports, for that young Brazilian star, Andre Ribeiro. And there's a long list of unsures here. And look down. Scott Goodyear, still unsure. Guerrero still in negotiations, want to come back. Mike Groff, very highly thought of as a test driver by Honda, and they may support his efforts next year.
Well, quite a conversation going down in the Bettenhausen pits. Part of the reason for this is that they're going to call, when they go back to green flag, both Adrian Fernandez and Stefan Johansson in for a stop-and-go penalty. It'll go further than that, but let's go down to Gary Gerald right now, who's right there.
Let's see if we can get a word as the field goes by. Tony, can you tell us now what this conversation is about?
No, CART can't tell us what the problem is. It's a pit safety violation.